Oh, Sarah, I'm going to ask you to say who you are and what's your business.
Hi, so my name's Sarah Needham. I am a coach and founder of Unique You Coaching, and I set up the business 2019 after leaving a corporate career as an engineer and leader in industry.
All right. I'm very curious to know, before you started working to achieve your B CORP certification, can you tell me something about what was the situation of you and your business, and why did you decide to go for this?
Okay, so I work, one of the reasons I've set up my business is because I want to create a more positive impact in the world. So it's one of the reasons I left industry, was I felt I could use my skills more to create more impact externally than internally. And so I've been building the business from a point of view of, okay, where can I create the most impact? How can I support people best? And this is kind of it, well, it's continuing. It's developing all the time as to, what's the right thing to do for the business? How can I create more impact? And challenging myself to continue learning and growing. I've never set up a business before. And so for me, it was really important that I'm using my intuition to grow the business, but also occasionally to kind of have those checkpoints to say, okay, so why am I doing this? What am I trying to achieve? And so I got introduced to B Corp probably about a year and a half ago. And I was talking to someone in the UK who was really inspirational. The way they'd set up the business, how they were talking was just really different to what you see a lot on, social media. So, and when he explained to me about what B Corp was, I was like, oh, this is perfect. This is exactly aligned to what I'm trying to achieve with the business. And so it was really important to me to kind of almost challenge myself. And I know you and I had this discussion a lot, was it's actually not about the certification. That's a nice to have. It's about going on the process to build a sustainable business that's going to keep on doing the right thing, whether I decide to grow it or not. And that was basically the bottom line behind kind of starting this. It was a challenge. It was an opportunity to learn. It was an opportunity to have my eyes open to things that I hadn't seen or probably wouldn't see on my own, because I come from industry and because I have a very, I've grown up in a world which is quite structured. So actually having these kind of impulses to say, have you even thought about this? What might this look like if you went and tried it? That was really important to me.
All right. I'm going to, we worked together for all this process. We started somewhere last year in June or July, if I'm correct.
In summer, yeah.
And we finished it in actually in March this year, when you received the confirmation that you're going to be a B Corp certified company. Let me know from your side, with your words, what is the impression of this whole process, and what were the things that you found most exciting, or maybe those aha moments that you discovered?
Okay, so yeah, we started working together in the summer last year, and we completed I was determined to get all the kind of paperwork, if you want to say, done by kind of end of October, I said, and I think I eventually put it through middle of November. And then the rest was just like the time they took to certify. But what was the question? What did I find challenging?
Yeah.
What did I find fun? Okay.
Something that you can say it was an aha moment for you, a discovery maybe during this journey.
Yeah. I think there were two big discoveries. There's always more we can do to actually be driven by our values. So my company is very values driven. And there was a lot which I had not even considered in terms of, how to deal with my supply chain, how to choose suppliers who aligned with my business values. I was already being quite careful, but I had no processes set up to do it. I was not following any kind of structure as to what was important. I was more going from my Bauchgefühl, from my instinct, which is not wrong, but there are ways to make it clearer to people as to why you're doing it that way. And what does that mean? And why is that important? So those were things where I was challenged to kind of rethink a little as to how I'm showing up, how the business is showing up, what's important for me in showing up in that way. And also the other aha moment was what I'm doing with my customers is already creating impact. So what I've been trying to build was kind of validated in some ways by what I did with the B Corp certification, because it showed me actually a lot of what I've been aiming for, I'm already doing. And the amount of times you and I had a discussion and you said, but Sarah, you're already doing this. I just couldn't see that I was already doing it. And you just helped me each time to say, okay, so, you know, but you've got this in place, you've got this in place, and you've got, and I'm like, yeah, no, I do. Is that good enough? Is that what it is? So a lot of it was kind of, you were helping me uncover those little things which potentially I was already doing, but I couldn't see for myself. It's a bit like when I work with people and we kind of normalize our own strengths. And then we say, well, you know, this is who I am, but this other person can do all these other things. And we kind of normalize it. You grow the other person from what you already do. Whereas they've got a completely different starting point. And that's what it reminded me of, is that you need occasionally to take a look at your business with a fresh pair of glasses, with an external view, because it can help you just see how far you've come, what you are achieving in a way that you just don't look at day to day.
Mm-hmm. What is your opinion now after this B Corp journey? Is it difficult for a company to define the impact the organization can have on all, let's say, 4 impact areas we had to work on: governance, customers, employees, and environment? Was it easier for you to define it, or difficult?
It was easier than I thought it was going to be. This is one of the reasons I was very cautious going into this process. I thought it was going to be a lot more complicated, and the wording in terms of what they're asking is sometimes not easy to understand, which again, why it's helpful having someone like you to help interpret. But actually seeing the areas of impact is really useful to help understand actually what are the areas where I can go create more impact, what are kind of easy wins, and actually where do I need to put in a bit more effort to move the business forward in that direction. So, and I think for me, it was very much about, okay, status today, what are the easy wins? What would I want to be aiming for in like the mid to long term? Where would I need to invest if I'm going to go and do that?
Okay, yeah, I think that it's a very interesting and complex process to think of your business impact. I mean, what helped you in your assessment? You know, in setting it up. I'm trying to get you know, what would be helpful for others too when they think how they should start to think at what impact goals they should have as organization, or how to define it.
For me, it's a really simple one. What's the right thing to do now? Not necessarily for me, but where can I bring the most value, or where can my business bring the most value to supporting others, to making the world a better place, to creating positive impact, and really focus on those areas. So I don't think it's overly complicated, but like I say, sometimes I don't think we see it with the right perspective, with the right glasses on. And so being able to kind of take a step back in terms of looking for that impact and just recognizing what you're already doing. And, you know, it doesn't have to be complicated. I know you and I were, when I said, right, I'm going to write an impact report for 2021. And I was like, what do I need to put in it? And your response is very much, okay, so what are the things that are important for you, for your customers, and for creating positive impact? So don't overcomplicate it. It's like, oh, okay, so there's not a structure, because I'm an engineer. There's not a structure. I shouldn't be doing, you know, and yes, there are certain things you can follow, but it's not about trying to be right. There's no black and white, there's no, right answer. It's about developing something that is meaningful, is creating impact.
And I know that during this process, we've come to develop few things, maybe a policy, maybe a handbook, or even what you have now, your manifesto. Do you feel that by having them, your organization is stronger, complete, or ready, or more appealing to customer? What do you feel having them?
Yeah, it's an interesting one because I don't have employees yet. And I say yet, I'm not sure that I will, but it's, there's a potential for growth, which I'm always open to. But creating the employee handbook in terms of, what's important to the business, but what's important to the employees, how can we support people potentially in the future in doing the right thing based on what's important or what the values of the company are. So that was actually a really interesting experience to put it together and to have the flexibility to recognize, actually, I get to create this. I get to write in there what's important for me. And actually, by stating some of this stuff out, it just actually opens up a new door. It's, oh yeah, no, that must go in there. That really does, indicate who I am. The same with the manifesto. The manifesto for me was one of those moments where I'm working with a company currently who are helping me build systems within the business. And they had a manifesto. And it was actually the reason I ended up working with this company, because of their manifesto, because I saw what they stood for. And it really made it obvious to me that this is something that people can't see so easily unless you write it out, unless you're really clear as to what you stand for. Then people don't see it. How much you think you're communicating, how much you're putting out on social media, how much you're, talking about it. Actually, having it in one place is really powerful to help people recognize this is what they stand for. This is what this working with this company does. And actually, I put my manifesto now in all my customer contracts. They sign up to my manifesto when they sign up to work with me because it's that important. I am not going to work with somebody who is not in the same place as me in terms of my manifesto, because it doesn't align with what my business is trying to do. So it's like a way of it's like the Marmite structure. You want people to love you, to stand next to you, to really agree with what you stand for, or to almost hate you because they don't agree with what you stand for. Okay. Well, it helps you kind of work between actually, where am I creating the most impact? Because it's definitely over here with the people that align with what is important to me. And they don't have to align with everything. They have to agree with me with everything. But creating courageous conversation and being able to have that conversation is really important. So yeah, the manifesto is super important. And all the internal stuff that I've created in terms of structures and processes in the business can feel quite heavy at times, but at the same time is a really good way of creating processes within the business to prepare for growth.
Absolutely. So a lot of people start now to look into the B Corp certification, as you mentioned, as a process to grow their business more sustainable and feel ready for what's going to come in our business world. If there would be an advice to give them, something that you would recommend regarding this process, what it would be, Sarah?
I think don't underestimate the value of the process, rather than trying to use it as a checkbox exercise to say, right, I must get certification, I must get it by this date. It really is okay, take on the process, learn from the process, see the process as the opportunity rather than just getting the check in the box at the end of it to say that's what you've achieved, because that's the benefit for the business. And that is where the learning is. That's where you'll get the most out of it. Not trying to power through it and do it within a month or two. Because if you're a business any bigger than mine, it's going to take you time to be able to implement this stuff and get it right. But getting it right is creating impact. So the other part for me is having somebody who can interpret and help you see where you're already doing this stuff, because quite often when you're the one working with it, you're the one whose business it is, you struggle to see what's already in front of you. And so having this external pair of eyes, which you gave me, and having somebody who can help you just take those steps and keep you going and keep you motivated, and maybe has a little bit more patience than I do, is super useful.
Thank you very much, Sarah. And again, congratulations for receiving the certification as a B Corp. You've done a great work. I'm so proud of this achievement. It's a dream coming true. And I'm looking forward to hear more beautiful, wonderful things from your side. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Corinna.